Senator Rand Paul from the Russell Rotunda. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, so the President of the United States yesterday said, hey, let's not be impatient. This isn't one of these things where I go first or you go first. Shouldn't he have gone first?
Well, I think he's not really showing much for boldness or leadership. You know, look at this. We had an election, and everybody in our country now is concerned about the debt. So he gave us a budget plan that's going to spend $46 trillion over 10 years, and it's going to double the debt. He's going to add $13 trillion to our debt. It's inexcusable, and it just shows that he doesn't want to lead the country.
But it also shows, you have on the record now, Congressman Ryan saying when we release our budget in April at the latest, it will have cuts into non-discretionary spending. So that shows that Republicans will go first.
Yeah, I think so. I think we have to show leadership because it looks like the president has abdicated. He's taking the easy way out. And the thing is we've got serious problems. I mean, we have to be very bold. We have to look at the entire budget. We can't look at just one small sliver, the non-military discretionary spending. We've got to look at the whole budget or you don't have any chance of correcting the problem.
All right, so we're actually looking at the whole budget right now in a pie chart for the 2012 federal spending. And when you break it down, I mean, if you add up Medicare and Social Security, that is a huge chunk, and that's what we're calling the entitlement portion of it. Senator, why did the president, after alluding to the fact that he might be willing to cut entitlements, why didn't he go first?
Well, I think everybody seems to be afraid of it. But, you know, during my campaign, I was attacked in the Republican primary and in the general election by the Democrats because I had said, you know what, to fix Social Security, you will have to gradually let the age rise. But I'm not afraid to say it. And in fact, in the next week or two, we're going to introduce a bill that will fix Social Security really in perpetuity. It can be done. It just takes people who are unafraid to talk about issues that are difficult.
So what would you do, Senator? What is the bill going to say?
Well, we don't have all the details yet, but it will include talking about gradually raising the age on those who are 55 and under. And it's really something that has to be done. Most young people acknowledge it. And what I worry about is if we don't do it, there may not be Social Security for anyone if we don't fix the program.
Sure. All right. So that has to do with the budget and the long-term effects of the budget. Meantime, on Capitol Hill, also they're worried about the continuing resolution because the government's going to run out of money in less than 2 weeks. Harry Reid, Senator, listen to this. Here he is saying that if the government does shut down, blame those darn Republicans.
All right. Well, I don't think
of course shutdown is possible because that's what the Republicans are threatening us on national TV, Meet the Press or one of those dandies, whatever the show was. The Republican leader was asked, and I'm paraphrasing, is there going to be a government shutdown? And he wouldn't respond to the question.
Senator?
I don't think any of the Republicans want a government shutdown. We don't want to default. I keep saying, why don't we spend what we have? We bring in $200 billion a month. There's no reason for the government to ever shut down. What that is they're creating a false argument. They want it to be either or. Either you do it our way or we shut down government. This happens at all levels of government. In local communities, what's the first thing they do if they don't pass a budget? They turn off the lights at the Little League ballpark because they want everybody to be up in arms, but they want what they want. So really this should be Republicans and Democrats getting together and saying, this debt is enormous, let's start cutting spending. Sure. But the president has introduced something the opposite. $46 trillion over 10 years. They're not serious, and they didn't get the message.
But I do think some Democrats are serious. Senator Ken Conrad seems very serious, and others are, for the first time in 2 years, are willing to take on the president on this. They seem legitimately crestfallen.
Right. I think there are some Democrats in the Senate and in the House who recognize the problem. It just, this budget that came out of the administration doesn't appear to recognize the problem. So I agree with you. It's not that there are no Democrats recognizing the problem. I think there are some that may come along as we start talking about trying to correct the debt problem.
The other one was Senator Chris Coons.
The president's budget doesn't do it.
The other one was Senator Chris Coons that understands.
I would agree with you.
All right. Senator, let me ask you this about the Patriot Act, because it was actually voted in for a 90-day extension after the first vote failed. First of all, you voted against it, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I want to know why you did that, and then why it wasn't a permanent extension.
Well, you know, some conservatives are big defenders of the Second Amendment. I am. Some liberals are big defenders of the First Amendment. And then there are some of us who believe the whole Bill of Rights ought to be defended. And really, I don't think you can protect the Second Amendment if you don't believe in the Fourth Amendment.
Right.
It's very important that judges sign warrants. We shouldn't allow the government to snoop into our personal lives and our records without having some judicial restraint. It's really one of the reasons why we fought the revolution. Right. James Otis wrote about general warrants signed by soldiers. We want judges to sign warrants and approve of searches before they happen.
Right, but that was when they had muskets. Now we have dirty bombs.
Well, the interesting thing is...
Right, but have you talked to law enforcement about this and found out the reasoning behind requesting the Patriot Act?
Right. Well, the interesting thing is that we have a court, a special secret court that has federal judges called the FISA court.
Right.
Before the Patriot Act, there were no warrants being turned down. In fact, 9/11 could have been stopped, perhaps, had we asked for a warrant. We didn't even ask for the warrant. So it's not that we were turned down from getting a warrant on Moussaoui. We never asked for a warrant. There was a real breakdown. And what still galls me to this day is that after 9/11, no person was fired and no person was reprimanded. We gave medals of honor to everyone in intelligence, and we had a horrible breakdown of intelligence.
But Senator Paul, do you think that the law enforcement wants this because they want to take away your rights, or do you think this is the best way they think they can keep us protected?
I think they're well-intentioned, and I think there are good people on the other side of this issue, but I think there are also good people on my side. I want to stop terrorism, and I'm for searching terrorists. I'm for keeping terrorists out of our country, but I do want some kind of checkoff. Right now, these laws are written to search U.S. citizens as well. We had 200,000 searches over the last 10 years, 200,000 that were written by FBI agents with no review by a judge. Right. This is not historically the way it's worked. We had protections from the Fourth Amendment that said U.S. citizens at the very least should be able to go before a court and say, Mr. Judge, or Your Honor, is this reasonable or unreasonable? Well, but we have speed. For example, if tonight in your town they have a rapist on the loose in your neighborhood, at 2 in the morning the police will not barge into his house.
That's right.
They will call a judge, and the judge at 2 in the morning almost always gives a warrant, but it's one step of restraint where the judge hears it and the police officer can't barge into your house. Most of us like that.
Sure. All right, Senator, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
With your perspective on what's going on up there on Capitol Hill.
He wants to cut $500 billion out. Meanwhile, straight ahead.
Egypt wants